Hey everyone, Shawn Clement here, Wisdom in Golf, in our backyard in wonderful Oshawa, Ontario. And today we're talking backswing for golf WRX. And Brandel Chambly has obviously, turned a beautiful stone in his book, Anatomy of Greatness, and we've been talking about it. And you'll understand after this episode what constitutes a full backswing and if your backswing fits the task at hand, if it fits the shot that you're trying to hit. And again, a lot of this information comes from Gabrielle Wolf, who's coming to our facility on August 5th, which is a Saturday, from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30, and we're having a nice barbecue lunch with her afterwards, and her colleague Rebecca Luthwaite. And they are world leaders in how we learn motor skills as human beings on this planet. This is her original book, Attention and Motor Skill Learning. I highly recommend you get this book. I got nothing but dog ears in here, nothing but aha moments that have helped me teach this game to a much higher level, saving my students decades of time, okay? So what you want to do to understand the top of the backswing, so the reason why many of you have not had the chance to finish your backswing, and it's something that I kind of disagreed how Phil Mickelson's evolution was, because after winning his tournament as an amateur on the PGA Tour in Tucson, he had a beautiful long flowing backswing with that lead heel coming off the ground, and he was able to smash the ball. He was a very, very long player for his era at the time, of course. And that's where they played these, the very small, steel heads. They didn't have the titanium at the time. So you compare the Phil Mickelson swing to the Bubba Watson swing, to the Jack Nicklaus, the Tom Watson, and you'll see not only a lot of similarities, you'll see 99% similarities in there, because they really knew how to finish their backswings without abusing their bodies. And you've never heard of Phil Mickelson hurting his back throughout his career, or being sidelined apart from a ski accident once in a while, because he never went against the grain. And when he tried to tighten up his backswing, it really didn't make his performances any better than what he was experiencing at the time. And you'll notice that he's getting back a lot of that range of motion today, and I encourage that big time for most of you. Those of you trying to resist with the lower body and coiling the upper body against it, if you're young right now, you're going to run into trouble when you get older. Already Rory and Jason Day have experienced a lot of back issues, and the ones that don't have back issues are the ones that have full and complete backswings. Bubba's never had that kind of an issue, so because he really gathers a full backswing with ease and very, very little strain. And he's able to use that range of motion to whip the snot out of the golf club in a very effortless manner. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a shot. So it all starts with my ball flight. Where do I want to start? Where do I want to end? So let's say I wanted to hit a draw that starts to the right of that flag here and comes back to the flag. So I'm going to use an intermediate point that right over here. I'm going to aim, let's say, left edge of that intermediate point for my alignment, play the ball a little bit back of center. I got a 5-iron here, and I'm going to swing to the right edge of that intermediate point to create that counterclockwise spin to bring it back. So we talked about how you want a nice wide takeaway last week as far as the initial takeaway of the backswing. So all I want to do is move my backswing in the direction that fits where I want to start the ball. That's 2 inside, that's 2 outside, that feels just right. So I'm allowing the club to move wide in that direction, and then as I get to the top of the backswing, I want to feel that the top of the backswing will allow me to whip the club with ease in that direction. That feels like I'm going way too far to the right. I'm too far across the line. That feels like I'm going to unwind way too much to the left. It feels like it's not going to the right edge. However, that feels like I can release to the right edge. So notice the initial ball flight started to the right edge of that intermediate point. And that's how I know I'm going to be able to pull off the shot. So many of you look at your intermediate point, you get lined up and you get set up, and then you go, okay, let's make sure I hit the ball. Well, hitting the ball as the target is very different than swinging to a target. Take, for example, throwing the club. So if I wanted to throw the club over my fence here, that's what it would look like. So in slow motion, let's say we're going fishing, there's my cast. If I'm going fishing underneath, so casting is not a problem as long as you're casting it in that direction, not at the ball. So if I'm casting at the ball, well, that's me casting a lure at the ball. So notice I'm losing my lag. This is me casting toward the target. Now I feel a nice release over here. So there's where I want to deliver my action. So if the ball is your target and you got nothing out there to attract your attention, then coming over the top is a necessity, right? You go, whoa. So if I'm trying to start the ball to the right of that intermediate point, that fits, and then I say, okay, I'm a little worried about the ball, so let's make sure we hit the ball. Well, now you're going dead left, sticking it in the ground, very low, deep divots, too steep, all because of what? Because you didn't stay on your task of going to the target. It is that simple, okay? So for those of you who have a hard time staying with your target, it's because you're worried about what the contact with the ball is going to be. So we have a great video entitled How to Predict Solid Contact or Predict Perfect Contact. And if you look at, I'm going in that direction. So I'm lining up left edge, play the ball back, get behind. Now it feels like I'm going to the right edge. Right edge, right edge. Yep, I stayed with the right edge. So notice how the energy of my swing was going that way. So what you can do is take a swing above the ball, right? So I set up, right edge, right edge. Now I'm going to swing above the ball in that direction. Observe the blur of the club. Yep, I saw the blur of the club pass over the ball and to the right side of that intermediate point. So then I get lower. So I say, okay, if I swing from here and I cast my fishing pole to the right edge of that intermediate point, got it, got it, got it. Lower myself. Hey, if I make the same swing, it feels like I'm going to cut grass. The sole of the club cuts grass, that means the ball's going to meet the center of the club face. Got it, got it, got it. That was absolutely nutted. So getting solid contact or being on plane or delivering to the target is not really a difficult thing to do if you have what the necessities of the backswing. So if I don't finish my backswing and if the upper body is a little too bunched up, now I feel like I literally have to help the club. So that means you're going to have to shove. You're going to pop a rib, you're going to pop something in your back because you're using way too much strain to deliver your task. So if you complete your backswing, notice how I let my left heel come off the ground. Now this feels like I could whip the snot out of the club very easily. So gather my backswing, cast my fishing pole out there towards my target. Gather, cast it out there. So I've got beautiful velocity that's very easy to produce. Therefore, I won't get hurt. And because I'm gathering, I'm making this beautiful wide backswing and my arms can swing freely. There's some massive benefits to this, okay? So if we look at, just to remind you again from some of our previous videos, the arm swing versus the body turn. If I had a ball in each hand here, and I wanted to toss a ball to a person over there, well, this is the only way I have access. If I don't move my body out of the way, my neighbor's going to get another ball. And same thing for the backswing. So notice I have to remove that rib cage out of the way so my left arm has full access to the backswing. Otherwise, it gets bunched up. So now it's too condensed. It's getting, brought to the inside. My hands are too low. Now I'm just fighting against all this mass that's in my way. So out of the way completely, out of the way completely. So if all you do is cut some grass, cut out of the way, cut out of the way. There we go. So if I can cut grass in both directions, I'm on plane. So I'm completely getting out of the way in the backswing, completely getting out of the way in the follow through, and now I can generate a ton of clubhead speed with, relatively no effort whatsoever. So gather to the right edge, let it release to the right edge, and I'm predicting that when I do that, I'm low enough that the sole of the club is going to cut some grass. So the takeaway in the top of the backswing, those are your two stepping stones that you just need to confirm that fit that direction. So if I'm hitting a fade and I'm going left edge, yes, that's left edge. Yes, that's still left edge. Yes, that felt like I released or cast my fishing pole to the left edge of my intermediate point. And that's what's going to give you the fade pattern versus the draw pattern. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed that. Get out there and finish your backswings and enjoy more distance effortlessly. All the best.